it's a relevant question. Let's talk about it. Let's address it as we go through the materials. I think that's the most productive way to do it. Can everyone hear me without the microphone? Am I doing okay? All right, so we got to get a microphone here quickly. I'm going to lose my voice about 5 minutes into this. All right, let's start on the introduction page. Successfully owning, operating, and managing real estate, residential rental property in New Jersey for profit, as our members of our organization do, is made ever more difficult by constantly changing the unique New Jersey bureaucracy. As we know, New Jersey is a hyper-regulated state. Every facet of owning or managing residential properties in the state of New Jersey is regulated, right? From security deposits to abandoned property to the Anti-Eviction Act, you name it. There's a regulation that likely applies to that aspect of owning and managing real estate in the state of New Jersey. It's always good to have a knowledgeable attorney on call that you can talk to about issues that arise. And I can tell you from my experience, practicing 15 years now, it happens every day. Every day I'm just fielding questions from clients who are not being a penny-wise, pound-foolish. They're calling their attorney. We're talking about these issues and hopefully avoiding issues in doing so. So it's always good to have someone on call that you can speak with. We have property registration requirements, window guard protections. We have issues regarding Section 8 voucher tenants. Different rules apply there. Municipal and subsidy inspections and licensures. Escrowing and return of tenant security deposits, as I said, abandoned property statute. We've got Megan's Law issues, civil right reporting reports, MDRRs. Tenant property tax rebates, appealing your property taxes, landlord's right to have municipal park garbage. They're all highly technical issues. And last but not least on that page is rent control. One of the things that you should know, if you're going to buy a property, know whether or not it sits in a rent-controlled municipality and if your property is regulated by rent control. There's about 100 municipalities in the state of New Jersey that have adopted and passed rent control. And I can tell you from examining many of those rent control statutes, no two are alike. They're all different because they're all passed at the municipal level by different municipal councils with different agendas, with different folks lobbying for different things. So no two rent control ordinances in the state of New Jersey are alike. For example, in Jersey City, if you have 4 or less rental units in a property, it's not subject to rent control. Whereas in Newark, if you have 4 or less residential units, they have to be owner-occupied. That property has to be owner-occupied in order to be exempt from rent control. So there's different exemptions that apply to different municipalities depending on that particular municipality's rent control ordinance. So if you're buying a property, it's important that you know that. So you know what you're buying, you know what you're getting yourself into. I can't tell you how many times I speak to an owner who bought a property who has no idea that it's rent control, no idea about registering rents, no idea about the restrictions that they have to abide by. So it's something you should know before you buy the property, and then certainly when you're managing the property, making sure that you comply with the local rent control statutes. The next section of the materials that I'm going to cover very briefly here at the beginning are fair housing issues and New Jersey law against discrimination issues. Now, I give a 4-hour seminar for the Apartment Association on fair housing issues. I have 15 minutes here tonight. So we're going to talk very briefly about these issues. We're not going to get into the weeds on it, but I can tell you that they are very technical, and it is a minefield. Every group that I talk to about fair housing issues, I tell you, it's a minefield. You have to know how to navigate it, right? Fair housing the Fair Housing Act has certain protected classes that are protected at the federal level. And you'll see that on page 4 of your materials. Race or color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability. Is that better? Yeah. All right, we're online now. Those are the federal protected classes, which means you have to know them because you're required to understand the law relative to fair housing. If you're renting residential properties in the state of New Jersey unless you fall under some exemption, like the miscellaneous exemption or something of the like. Under the Fair Housing Act, the Department of Justice may bring a lawsuit where there is a reason to believe that a person or entity has engaged in a pattern and practice of discrimination. So if you have one discrimination lawsuit that's filed or one investigation into discrimination, one of the first things that the state or the government is going to ask for in discovery, or a plaintiff's attorney is going to ask for in discovery, is documentation relative to the applicants that you've accepted, the applicants that you've denied, the leases that you've entered into, and various practices of your rental policy. What is your rental policy, and you abided by it consistently and across the board. And if there is found to be a pattern or practice of discrimination, you could end up, first of all, with a class action. You could also end up being investigated by the Justice Department, which is never a good thing. If you turn to page 5, we're talking about disability. The term major life activity. Disability is something that affects a major life activity, may include seeing, hearing, walking, breathing, performing manual tasks, caring